Good afternoon and welcome to our deep dive into the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional Endpoint Assessment. Can someone raise their hand or give me a shout out if Emma's there to say if you can hear me?
Yeah, we've got a couple of hands raised, Sarah.
Oh, brilliant, thank you very much, wonderful. Well, I'm Sarah Fiodor and I'm your Hair and Beauty Technical Advisor, and I'm joined today by Emma McKay, the Hair and Beauty Industry Manager. So we are both working from home, so if you hear any background noise, please bear with us. It might be said child of Emma's coming home from school, or both our dogs having a little bark every now and again. So like I say, do please bear with us. So the webinar today will cover the assessment specification for the practical observation and questioning only, and the requirements for the collection of hairstyle looks and the advanced creative colour conversion element of the endpoint assessment, from the consultation to the finish. And it'll include one service, which is a precision cut and finish, and the second service, which will be the advanced creative colour conversion service. And we'll also be going through how to achieve a pass and how to strive for a distinction grade. So I've done our introductions. So I've just got our housekeeping here. So everybody is on mute. The session is being recorded and the slides will be sent to all attendees along with the recording after the webinar. Please add any of your questions into the function on the control panel, and I will try to answer these questions at the end of the session. If we run out of time, I will answer your questions and I will email them to you. And your questions are really important to us because they make up part of our frequently asked questions guide. So please keep them coming. If your session cuts off today, please use the original webinar link to gain access back into the session. And you can join over the telephone, select phone call in the audio pane, and the dial-in information will be displayed. So introductions and housekeeping done. Now I've got some exciting things coming up about our new pricing and our Feedback Plus. So we'll be looking at the practical observation and questioning, the grade descriptors for the practical observation and questioning, the frequently asked questions to date, some top tips and further support, and any questions and answers that you may have. So here's an update now on our new pricing and Feedback Plus for the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional. So this is quite exciting because we do have a new pricing structure for the endpoint assessment. So we carried out a review of our endpoint assessment pricing for the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional. And in light of this, and on the 1st of May, this went live. So we sent out an alert to say that there was a new price for the apprentices, and that went out on the 1st of May. It changed on the 1st of May this year. And this is how it's broken down. So each apprentice, the registration fee for the endpoint assessment is £40. So that means £40 for one apprentice registered for the EPA, and then £560 for the completed endpoint assessment. But the more apprentices you book onto the same event, the lower the price per apprentice it will cost. Now we know we can only have 2 apprentices on the Advanced and Creative Hair Professional endpoint assessment. So if we look at this table, and we'll see how the breakdown works. So for one apprentice, the cost is £560, and for 2 apprentices, the cost is £810. Now that's a massive saving of £310. So it is advisable to book 2 apprentices to take up this advantage of the saving here. So let's look at the resit pricing. And just to clarify, you only pay the £40 registration fee once. So that's a one-off payment. So for the resit, for one apprentice, the resit for the practical observation and questioning fee is £435. The resit for the knowledge test is £25, and the reset fee for the professional discussion is £100. But for 2 apprentices, the resit practical observation and questioning fee is £685. Again, 2 apprentices to sit there at the same event is a massive saving of £185 for you, which I would say again, 2 apprentices always. The resit for the knowledge test is still £25, and the resit fee for the professional discussion is still £100 per apprentice. Now, Feedback Plus. You ask and we sorted this. We have our Feedback Plus for our level 2 standard for the barbering and the hairdressing, but as of the 1st of June, the Feedback Plus will be rolled out for the advanced and creative hair professional. And this will help you to improve and prepare your apprentices for their endpoint assessment. And also apprentices really want to know which areas they achieved a pass and which areas they achieved a distinction. So I'm really, really pleased to announce that this is going to be live as of the 1st of June 2022. So as always, you know, our customers, you're very important to us. Your feedback is really important to us, and we do try to, try to make sure that we get things all our ducks in one row for you. Now we're just going to remind ourselves here of the 3 assessment methods for the endpoint assessment for the advanced and creative hair professional. There are 3, and that's the knowledge test, the observation and questioning, and the professional discussion. And as I stated earlier, today is just going to be about the observation and questioning. So the next few slides, we're going to take a look through the assessment specification and conditions and the grading criteria for the practical observation and professional discussion. So I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but just in case there's any new people on the webinar, I'm going to briefly go through the assessment specification. So it's observation and questioning, and this should take about 5 hours. The IEPA has the discretion to increase that time by 10%, which is 30 minutes. The assessment conditions are as, they can be taken in the employer's salon or the training provider's salon. The location should match the same conditions as a real working environment in which the apprentice will demonstrate their knowledge, skills and behaviours assigned to the assessment method. The grading is a distinction, pass or a fail, and one assessor may observe up to 2 apprentices at any one time, and this is to allow for that quality and rigour of the assessment on the day. And a typical working day in a salon is considered to be 7.5 hours. So if we look at the overview of what the apprentice has to do on their endpoint assessment. So again, the apprentice will be observed by the City and Guilds Independent Endpoint Assessor, and they'll be required to carry out work on a minimum of 1 client and undertake 2 services. The apprentice will be questioned after each of the 2 services, so there will be a total of 4 questions asked and split the following ways. So we'll have they'll have the precision cut and finish from their personal collection of hairstyle looks, and the IEPA will ask 2 questions for a maximum of 5 minutes after the precision cut and finish service. They will also complete 1 advanced creative colour conversion service on previously coloured hair, and again the independent endpoint assessor will ask 2 questions for a maximum of 5 minutes after the advanced creative colour conversion service. So let's take a deeper look into service 1. So service 1 is your precision cut and finish. So if we look at the post gateway and prior to the observation, the apprentice must have carried out an in-depth consultation and complex analysis of the client's hair and scalp. And at the start of the observation for the precision cut and finish, the apprentice will discuss briefly and confirm with the client in their prior in-depth consultation complex analysis of the client's hair and scalp. The brief discussion will form part of the observation period and should last a maximum of 5 minutes. So the 5-minute consultation is included in the overall 5-hour observation time. Evidence must be provided that the apprentice has completed this in-depth consultation and complex analysis of the client's hair and scalp, analysed factors influencing the design and creation of the hairstyle look, and plan created and evidenced and also evaluated a look from their collection of hairstyle looks. For the precision cut, the apprentice must be observed during the observation and questioning for the following activities. So the apprentice must create one precision cut and finish from their personal collection of hairstyle looks using safe working practices, effectively communicating with the client, sectioning, cutting guidelines to achieve that required look, precision and personalised cutting techniques tailored to suit the individual characteristics, the preparation of the fashion styling, dressing and finishing techniques, and all relevant products, tools and equipment. So what is a precision cut? So let's clarify what this is. A precision cut. On this slide, we've got a few examples here for you, and a precision cut could be geometric, asymmetric, disconnected, or maybe an A-line bob or an inverted bob. And the cutting techniques that they can use on this precision cut are graduating, layering, thinning, tapering, club cutting, freehand, advanced texturizing, slide cutting, channel cutting, point cutting, slicing, undercutting, disconnecting, razor cutting, close cutting, scissor or clipper over comb, fading netlines and shapes, precision cutting to solid edges with zero elevation and clipper work. So it's a selection of any of these cutting techniques to be used. And remember, this is a level 3 cut that the learners, that your apprentices will be recreating on the day. And we are looking for those sharp lines. And it is in our frequently asked questions, but to do an actual precision cut, we are stating that the cut should be above the shoulders to be able to show those clear, defined lines and precision. Here are a few more examples for you for obviously the precision cut. And as we can see here, we've got some really great fades and sharp lines and really undercut into the back of the nape of the neck. So now we're going to take a look at service 2, which is the advanced creative colour conversion. And again, the post-gateway requirements here are that prior to the observation, the apprentice must have carried out this in-depth consultation and complex analysis of the client's hair and scalp. At the start of the observation for the advanced colour conversion service, the apprentice will discuss briefly and confirm the client's prior in-depth consultation and complex analysis of the hair and scalp. The apprentice will also discuss and show the outcome of tests that have been completed. And the brief discussion, again, will form part of the observation period, which should last a maximum of 5 minutes. So the 5-minute consultation is included in the overall 5-hour observation time. So evidence must be provided that the apprentice has completed the in-depth consultation and complex analysis of the client's hair and scalp, including the outcome of all tests, analysed factors influencing the selection of their advanced colour conversion techniques that they are going to be using on that model. So for service 2, the apprentice must complete one advanced creative colour conversion service on previously coloured hair, so over 30% of the hair, to include effective safe working methods, effective communication with the client, the change in the depth and tone of the hair in accordance with the legal requirements and the manufacturer's instructions, use a creative sectioning technique to personalise the colour result and enhance the finished look, and toning through bespoke and creative formulations, colour blending and shading, the resolution of any problems that may occur during that creative colour conversion service. And again here, we have given you a few examples of what that colour conversion service could look like. Now we're going to move on to the grade descriptor, and this can be found on our website under 9014, and it's version 1.2 of the endpoint assessment pack for centres, customers and employers. So the next few slides, we're going to go through the grade descriptors of the practical observation and questioning, taking a look at the knowledge, skills and behaviours of how the apprentice can achieve a pass and strive for a distinction. And as I said, these descriptors can be found in the endpoint assessment pack on our website under 9014. Now this slide tells us or shows us what knowledge, skills and behaviours that are going to be assessed during their endpoint assessment. And I would like to draw your attention to skills 7. And you can see skill 7 comes under the creation of collection of create a collection of hairstyle looks. So that's S7. S7 will be assessed as part of the professional discussion, but the IEPA will be looking and assessing the finished look of that cut, that precision cut. So these are the knowledge, skills and behaviours for the observation and questioning. Now we're going into a little bit of a deeper dive here to this document, and there's quite a few slides on this. So I want to draw your attention to the terminology that we can see, so the explanation of terminology used within the grade descriptors. Well, this will help the apprentice to strive for that distinction. So what we need to be doing at the moment is trying to get them familiar using this type of terminology, such as showcased or showcasing their passion, their creativity, their talent, where did they, the flair, where did they get all this from, and their imagination. Who inspired them? What inspired them to recreate, to do that cut or recreate that cut? As we will see moving forward through the grade descriptors, some descriptors are only a pass, so there's no distinction grade descriptors for some assigned knowledge, skills and behaviours. So for a pass, the apprentice has to provide evidence to meet the knowledge, skills and behaviour requirements for the observation and questioning, and the criteria, it must all be passed in that pass column. So everything, as you can see here, you've got K7 and K8, and you've got the pass, which is the apprentice have provided evidence to meet the knowledge, skills and behaviour requirements for the observation and questioning, and all the criteria below. So you must see that it says carried out an in-depth consultation and complex analysis of the client's hair and scalp, considering any influencing factors in order to plan, create and style the look. And as you can see on the distinction side there is no distinction grade. I must just reaffirm that for the apprentice to strive for the distinction grade, they must achieve all the criteria in the pass column and all the criteria in the distinction column as we move forward in these slides. So using this terminology will help you to support your apprentice to strive for that distinction grade. Now we can see that, like I said, K7 and 8 on this slide, and we also have S2 and S3 on the next slide that there's no distinction criteria for. Let's move on to the next slide. So if we look on this next slide, skills 2 and 3 have no distinction criteria. However, the apprentice must carry out an in-depth consultation and complex analysis of the client's hair and scalp, considering influencing factors in order to plan and create the style look. If we take a look at knowledge 6, skills 4 and behaviours 1, they have no distinction criteria. It's a pass criteria only. And we can see here that skills 4 and 8 both have a pass criteria and a distinction criteria. The pass criteria for skills 4, the apprentice must have maintained communication with the client throughout the creation of looks from their personal collection. And for a distinction, they must have also maintained attentive, informative communication with the client throughout the service, using open questions to engage and reassure and guide and build a positive, lasting relationship with the client. So that's how they can strive for that distinction, by using open questions, engaging with the client, reassuring the client, and building a positive relationship with that client, and that will help them get to that distinction grade. The pass criteria for knowledge 8 and knowledge 9 on the next slide, the apprentice must use a range of technical skills and techniques, including precision and personalised cutting, tailored to suit the individual characteristics, to create and finish the look using their individual flair and imagination for discretion. They must also have creatively adapted and combined the flair and passion and a range of advanced technical and precision techniques to a superior quality to create style, the finished look with attention to detail. I'm just going to move on to the next slide, because this is where it carries on. So as I said in the previous table, that stands for what's on this table here. So the pass criteria for knowledge 9, 10, 11 and 12 and S5 and 6, the apprentice must have used a range of technical skills and techniques, including the precision cut and personalised cutting, tailored to suit the individual characteristics, to create and finish the look using their individual flair, their imagination. And for that distinction, they must also have creatively adapted and combined their flair and passion and a range of advanced technical and precision techniques to a superior quality to create the style and the finish look. On the next slide, we will see skills 7 and B4 is exactly the same criteria. So looking on this slide, I'd like to draw your attention first of all to skill 7. So skill 7 will be assessed as part of the professional discussion, like I said earlier, but the EPA will be looking and assessing the finished look on the day. And as we can see on this slide, knowledge 13 and skills 9 only has a pass criteria. So they must use a range of products, tools and equipment in accordance with the legal requirements and always following the manufacturer's instructions and salon policy. We're going to take a look now at the service 2, which is the advanced creative colour conversion. And as we can see on this slide, knowledge 27 and 28, and it'll be on the next slide, knowledge 25, 29, 30 and 33 only have a pass criteria. There is no distinction criteria, just a pass criteria. And skills 19 on the next slide and skills 18 and 20 have a pass criteria. So the apprentice must have carried out an in-depth complex consultation, analysis of the client's hair and scalp, including any evidence of any relevant tests that they have done on the client prior. On this slide, skills 18 has a pass and distinction criteria. So let's have a look at this. So you see there's two, I think I've gone, sorry, I'm here now. I went too quick. Sorry about that. We have two skills 18 on this slide, and as you can see, the first one is there's no distinction requirements for this one, but on the second one I'll go through them both. So the first skills pass criteria is the apprentice must facilitate safe working practices, ensuring safety of themselves, others, and when necessary challenging any safety issues during that advanced creative colour conversion service. Whereas the second skills 18 criteria for the pass, they must maintain and communicate throughout the advanced creative colour conversion service. And to strive for a distinction, again, they must have maintained that attentive and informative communication with the client throughout the service, using again open questions to engage their client and reassure their client, and also building that positive relationship where the client is happy to rebook and come back into the salon. Now, if we look at knowledge 25, 29, 30 and 33 and S1, S18 there and S20, they only can only achieve a pass here. So please make sure everything has got to be, you know, ticked off in that box, in that pass. Everything's got to be ticked off. Make sure you do that, and then move them on to strive them to that distinction and see exactly what they need to do to be able to strive for that distinction grade. So this slide tells us that knowledge 34, 37 and 38 and skills 21, 22 and 23 have a pass and a distinction criteria. So to pass, the apprentice must have used creative technical skills, sectioning, their formulations, their colour blending or shading, their application and their finishing techniques to create bespoke creative colour conversion service and change depth and tone of the hair. And for a distinction, the apprentice must achieve a pass. So they must achieve all the pass criteria and the distinction, which is used to adapt the range of technical skills, consistently showcasing their passion, their creativity, talent and flair, whilst completing that colour conversion. And Knowledge 34 and S31 have a pass and distinction criteria, and this is they must have used and applied the relevant products, use of correct tools and equipment in accordance with legal requirements and manufacturer's instructions. And for the distinction, the apprentice must have consistently showcased, again, here's these words, this terminology, showcase their individual flair, their creativity and their imagination in order to provide a unique individual creative colour conversion service, and also to have adapted a range of products, tools and equipment tailored to suit the client's individual characteristics and hair classifications. So for this slide, we've got skills 24 and behaviours 2, and this is a pass criteria only, and the apprentice must demonstrate a tenacious approach to problem solving, identifying any root causes and ensuring these are resolved to a satisfactory end. So again, when you go through these grade descriptors, go through them with the apprentice so they can see these descriptors and make sure that they've got everything in the pass column first. And if you're 100% sure that they've got everything in that pass column for all the knowledge, skills and behaviours, then it's time to start really bringing them into what is a distinction going to look like. And again, it's using the terminology of, you know, the talent, the flair, the creativity, the imagination, passion, that will give them that distinction. So please start using the terminology that we have in our endpoint assessment pack. Now let's move on to some of our frequently asked questions. Now these frequently asked questions, they can be found on our website under 9014, and also on the hairdressing key documents page. That's where they are on the website for you. So the first question is, what happens if the client from the apprentice's hair collection logs lets the apprentice down and is unable to attend the endpoint assessment? So the answer to this is if the client lets the apprentice down, then a contingency client may be used as not to disadvantage the apprentice. The apprentice can replicate either the same look or any one of the looks from their collection on another client. The apprentice will need to let the IEPA know which look is from their portfolio that they will be recreating before the commencement of that endpoint assessment. Again, what is a precision cut? So a precision cut needs to show precision and attention to detail to create bold, sharp lines. Haircuts should be above the shoulder. And the definition of a precision cut, as I went through earlier, is the cut that uses strong, accurate, clearly defined lines with solid edges and zero elevation. And that can be geometric, asymmetric, disconnection, A-line bobs or an inverted bob. So how many cutting techniques need to be covered during the precision cut? A set number of techniques is not stipulated. However, a range of advanced technical and precision techniques from the list here needs to be used to suit the individual characteristics to create a personalized finished look. And those cutting techniques can be graduating, layering, tapering, club cutting, freehand, advanced texturizing, slicing, channel cutting, point cutting, undercutting, disconnecting, razor cutting, close cutting, scissor or clipper over comb, fading neckline shapes, precision cutting edges, unsolid edges, and zero elevation. Now we've been asked this one quite a few times. Does the precision cut have to be a restyle? No, it doesn't have to be a restyle. So, does a precision cut need to be on the same client they use in their collection of looks? It doesn't have to be on the same client, but it does need to replicate one of the looks from their collection. The apprentice will need to let the EPA know which look from their portfolio they will be recreating before they start their endpoint assessment. Does the creative colour conversion need to be on the same client they used for the collection of looks? No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be on the same client that they used for their collection of looks. Does the colour only need to change depth and tone? No. They must complete one advanced creative colour conversion service on previously coloured hair of over 30% of the hair, and to include effective and safe methods of working, effective communication, change the depth and tone of the hair in accordance with legal requirements and manufacturer's instructions, the use of creative sectioning techniques to personalise a colour result and enhance the finished look, and toning through bespoke and creative formulations, and that could be colour blending or shading. And does a colour conversion need to include a colour correction technique? No, the colour correction aspect is discussed within the professional discussion assessment. So a colour conversion is a creative colour technique using creative sectioning patterns, and this needs to be carried out on previously coloured hair to a minimum of 30% of that hair, and could include toning through bespoke and creative formulations, colour blending, shading, root drag, or stretch techniques. How many colouring products needs to be used during the colour conversion? A set number isn't stipulated, so no set number of colouring products to be used for that colour conversion. And how many colouring techniques to be used during the colour conversion? Again, there has been no set number stipulated of colouring techniques that need to be used. But remember, they do need to be of a level 3 standard. Can a balayage be used for the practical observation? Yes, if the apprentice uses creative sectioning patterns and it's carried out on previously coloured hair, a minimum of 30% of that hair, and could include toning through bespoke and creative formulations or colour blending, shading, root drag, or stretch techniques. Can a male client be used for the observation and questioning? Yes, as long as they meet the full requirements of the endpoint assessment. What evidence is needed on the day? So the apprentice will need photographic ID, evidence that all tests have been completed, including the outcomes of the tests, and evidence of the collection of looks using the precision cutting techniques. Is there a need for the apprentice to have an appointment schedule on the day? No, it's not a set requirement. However, it does help to show that that the full requirements of the endpoint assessment are being covered. And I also think it really does give them a good working order, because they're planning that. So that's their plan, what they're going to do on the day. And they can have that with them, and they know exactly what they're going to be doing on the day and what order they're going to be doing everything in. Now, if we move on to some top tips, This has come from Diane, the lead independent endpoint assessor. So top tips are use all the support resources that we have for you. We have them on EPA Pro. There are tons and tons of support resources for you on EPA Pro. Please download them. There's one really good support resource that I like. It's the grade descriptors. And after each section, there's a little heading, there's a box there for you, and it's got notes. And I think it'd be really, really good to download them and give them to your apprentice, and so they can actually go through everything on the pass. And you know, and if they've got something on there that's not done, they need to write a little note in there. They've got little tips in there as well. And also it'll help them to look at the distinction side and see how and what they're going to do to strive for that distinction. That's a really, really good document to use. Ensure the clients being used give the apprentice the best opportunity to showcase the skills. I think it really, you know, it is down to the model. You know, we need to make sure that our apprentices have really, really good models that they're going to be working on to give them that best opportunity. Again, check the grading criteria, what the apprentice needs to get to do to get a pass, and what they need to do to strive for that distinction. And prepare the apprentice for questions that may be asked by the independent endpoint assessor. So there's going to be 2 questions after the precision cut and finish, and there's going to be 2 questions after the creative colour conversion. So try and prepare them for those 4 questions that they're going to be asked. And if you do go onto EPA Pro, they've got some examples of questions on there that may be asked on the day. So again, you can make your own up from their collection, but we do have some hints and tips there on EPA Pro for you. So what further support do we have for you? Well, we have our EPA Partnership Managers, Rebecca Holland-Bay for the Midlands, Janice Collins for the North, and Maurice Hole for the Southwest. We have obviously our centre support at cityandgirls.com. That's our EPA support team. And we have a telephone number there for you for the EPA support team. And we also have web chat. And you've got the emails for the partnership managers and their mobile phone numbers. Also, what's really, really good with EPA Pro is that before they go into their endpoint assessment, it's good to go onto EPA Pro and set up a planning meeting with the IEPA. And I think really everybody should go onto the EPA Pro. And if you've got any apprentices that are up and coming for their endpoint assessment, please book a planning meeting in with your endpoint assessor, the independent endpoint assessor. Again, here Emma and I are always here to support you and keep in touch with you. So we've got Emma's email there and mine and our numbers, and also centre support and their number. I would like to point out again where on our website, if you go on our website and if you go right to the bottom, scroll right to the bottom, we have a strap line that says tools and support. And, you know, I would suggest every year you go into the email updates and click on there to check, number 1, that you are still registered, and number 2, that you're registered for all the information and alerts and focus information that we send out. We can't just send emails out willy-nilly, that's due to GDPR, but if you are signed up for our email alerts and updates, then you will get all the most up-to-date information. And that brings us now to the end of our webinar, and we have got some time for some questions. So I'm going to see if Emma is there, and do we have any questions, Emma?
Hi, Sarah. No, there's no questions in the box.
No questions in the box. Okay. Okay then. Well, all that leaves me to say is thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Please, you know, let us know if there's anything else you want from a webinar. You know, if you want, you know, just email us if you feel you would like a planning meeting with your IEPA. or you'd like a one-to-one with myself, please send me an email, and I can always arrange a Teams meeting with you and your team, or just on a one-to-one to help guide you through. Don't sit alone with any question and worry, please do, keep in touch with me. I would be really happy with that. I think there's a question just come through, Emma, but I can't see it. Something's moving on, or is it a thank you I've just seen?
There's a couple of thank yous, and oh yes, just one in there. Does the colour have to be from the collection?
No.
Oh, just no. Yeah.
It can be from the collection. It's got to be, basically it can be from the collection if they want to. The cutter's got to be from the collection. The precision cutter's they've got to recreate that, but the colour, they're not going to really they're not going to recreate it on that client. They could do if they wanted to, as long as they they do that corrective colour conversion and the hair's been coloured up to 30%, but it doesn't have to be recreated. It's just showing their skill.
Okay, so I'll just add a comment in there for everyone that Sarah's just confirmed that the colour doesn't have to be from the collection. Thank you.
They're not recreating that, they're only recreating the precision cut. Got any more? Is that okay?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Well, have a lovely evening, everybody, and yeah, until we meet again, take care.